Last night was a huge night for fans of tanking and rebuilding teams as the NBA's draft lottery officially went down, and we now know the order in which the teams at the beginning of the draft will be picking. The fate of several franchises were held by a few ping pong balls, and the way things shook out definitely made quite a few of them happy, but others are simultaneously left with a sour taste in their mouths based on the way that those ping pong balls bounced. So for today's video, we're back with our monthly installment of our mock draft, with now being the perfect time for it because of the lottery. Players have begun working out for teams, the draft combine is coming up, and we can start to get a better idea of who teams will want to target. Before we start though, I want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. PrizePicks is the perfect service for all of us basketball fans here because when you're involved, it makes watching the games every night so much more fun and engaging. Basically, it's an application that provides you with lines on all kinds of individual player props, such as points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made amongst others, and you simply have to choose whether you believe they will record over the set amount in the line or under the set amount in the line. Make your selections, wager however much you want to, and if your picks hit, you can win some big money. For some picks that I'm looking at making for today's slate of games, I'm thinking of going with Luka Doncic to score over 32.5 points, Jordan Poole to score over 15.5 points, and Maxi Kleber to make over 1.5 threes. If this sounds at all intriguing to you, then go use the link down in the description of the video to sign up today and use promo code REFERENCE to receive a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. Starting things off with the first pick of the draft, the Orlando Magic came away with the winners of this honor, and with it they'll select Jabari Smith from Auburn. The Magic arguably have the most difficult decision in the entire draft because of the top three prospects all having compelling cases to go number one, and after their selection, the following two teams will just take the ones that are left. Jabari gets the slightest of edges here because not only do I see him fitting in the best on the Magic, but he's also a terrific combination of safe as a pick and talented. The Magic lose a lot of their front court depth this offseason, but Wendell Carter Jr. is still locked up for the foreseeable future, so sliding in Smith next to him in the lineup gives them an element of shot making they did not previously have, along with Smith's tremendous versatility on both ends. Next up with the second pick is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and with it they select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga. For a team like the Thunder, their goal is always to shoot for guys with the highest upside, and while there are concerns about Holmgren's strength, he absolutely has ridiculous upside on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he's a skilled 7-footer who runs the floor and knocks down threes with ease, and defensively, he's a shot-blocking machine. Yes, he definitely will need to add some weight and strength to his frame to be able to bang with the bigger bodies down low, but that will come with time, and he's only going to keep getting better. Next up with the third pick is the Houston Rockets, and with it they select Paolo Banchero from Duke. The Rockets are in a position where they will essentially draft whoever of the first three guys falls to them, and in this scenario that player is Banchero, who they will be more than happy with. Banchero had a phenomenal season, capped off by a phenomenal showing in March Madness, and his footwork and craftiness for a player as big and strong as he is could pose matchup nightmares at the next level. Defensively, he'll need some work, but offensively he's the real deal, and would pair well with Rockets' young backcourt of Jalen Duren and Kevin Porter Jr. Next up with the fourth pick, the Sacramento Kings select Jaden Ivey from Purdue. The Kings are in a weird spot with this pick because they still have De'Aaron Fox and they just drafted Davion Mitchell last year, but the best player available in this range is a guard, so they will likely go guard again this year as Ivey is the best player available. Ivey can operate as both a point guard and a shooting guard though, so that versatility could help him fit into their lineups, and his blazing quick speed alongside De'Aaron Fox could possibly make them the fastest backcourt in the whole league. Next up with the 5th pick is the Detroit Pistons, selecting Shaedon Sharpe from Kentucky. The Pistons got the short end of the stick rebuilding teams got in the lottery, falling down to the 5th pick, but I think they still find a way to swing for the fences with Sharpe, who could prove to be an absolute home run of a prospect. Sharpe is the biggest question mark in this year's draft class because he never got to play a game with Kentucky, but he was the #1 prospect in next year's recruiting class before he reclassified, and I truly believe he might be the best overall scorer in the draft this year, so pairing him with Cade Cunningham could still be very fun. Next up with the 6th pick, the Indiana Pacers select Keegan Murray from Iowa. Murray is one of the most balanced players in the draft this year as a big forward who scored over 20 a night this year because he has the skills to beat you in so many different ways, and on top of that, he's one of the most versatile defenders as well. He is on the older side for a prospect as he will be 22 at the start of next season, but age really shouldn't be of any concern when the player is as good as he is. Next up with the 7th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers select AJ Griffin from Duke. Griffin had a fairly up and down season at Duke this year as he was recovering from a knee injury early on that seemed to hamper his athleticism all season, but as he got more comfortable, he showed he could be an outstanding shooter from deep, making 45% of his threes. Griffin is one of the youngest players in the draft this year, and as he continues to heal, his athleticism will come back, so general managers see him as a big upside play. Up next with the 8th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Benedict Mathurin from Arizona. The Pelicans are ready to compete for the playoffs as they proved in the play-in tournament this year, and will be better with Zion Williamson returning next season, so bringing in a guy like Mathurin, who showed in March Madness he can provide a massive scoring punch with his athleticism and shot making, would be a very solid addition for their core. Next up with the 9th pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Jalen Duren from Memphis. Duren is a gifted athlete, he's strong, and he's very quick for a big man, so in terms of his ability to run the floor, catch lobs, and operate in the pick and roll, he's everything you could want, but in terms of his individual skills, he has a lot of work to do. I like his fit with the Spurs though, who have always done a good job developing players like this in the past. Up next with the 10th pick, the Washington Wizards select Johnny Davis from Wisconsin. Davis emerged in a big way this season, winning the Big Ten's Player of the Year award, as he proved to be one of the best and most pure scorers in all of college basketball. Unfortunately, an ankle injury slowed him down near the end of the season, and while he tried to play through it, his production in that time suffered. But when he was at full strength, he proved to be one of the best shot makers available, who competes hard on defense too. Next up with the 11th pick, the New York Knicks select Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. Agbaji was an upperclassman, but he led the best team in the country all season long with his shot making as a knockdown shooter from deep, and has proven that, at the very least, he'll be an impactful 3-and-D guy at the next level. He played his best when the lights were brightest, and in the Big Apple, that's exactly what they need from a draft pick. Next up with the 12th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jeremy Sochan from Baylor. Jeremy has been one of the fastest risers up draft boards since March Madness because teams have become fascinated with how productive of a player he can be in so many different areas of the game. For a player his size, he has a terrific handle with great vision as a passer. He can defend all 5 positions well, and despite being so young, he's a smart player with impressive instincts when it comes to being in the right place at the right time. Up next with the 13th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Mark Williams from Duke. The Hornets are severely lacking in front court depth going into next year, and Williams was one of the best rim protectors in college basketball this season. He also shot a whopping 72% from the field, operating as an outstanding rim runner who doesn't try to do too much and performs well within his role. And finally, to round out the lottery with the 14th pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Dyson Daniels from G League Ignite. Daniels wasn't the Ignite player people expected to become the coveted prospect, but scouts became enamored by how smart, under control, and poised he plays out there. He's an outstanding playmaker and a defender for his size, and his ceiling will be determined by how much he improves as a shooter, because that is admittedly a weakness of his at this point. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you want your favorite team to draft this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.